It is so easy to get angry and worked up as your kids get older. There is so much backtalk, sassiness, blatant disobedience, the constant fighting, the bickering, the tattling. How on earth does anyone stay positive or speak life into their family and children when they just want to pull their hair out and walk away? I got you, Mama, and I totally understand you because I am you.
Do you miss having time for Jesus and yourself, but you're drowning in the responsibilities of motherhood? If so, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Cheryl, wife, girl mom, and Jesus follower. I learned the not-so-secret ways to become the mom my girls needed by prioritizing Jesus back into my mom life and reclaiming my identity in Christ. If you're ready to build faith while washing dishes, rediscover your identity, and love yourself like your babies do, grab your earbuds and lock that bathroom door for a minute alone. It's time for Mom.
This week, I wanted to take time to read a review from a listener by the name of Dizzy Uber. Dizzy, I don't know if you're out there, but if you are, thank you so much for this review. It says, honest and encouraging. Cheryl does a beautiful job of sharing honest and genuine devotionals. Her heart for moms shines through. This podcast is such an encouragement for Christian mothers and wives. Dizzy, thank you so much for that podcast. And if you'd like to have a review read, please head on over to bit.ly/time for mom podcast and leave that 5-star review. And I will most likely be reading more in the future. At least that's the plan. Let's dive in. When my husband and I were in the premarital stage, we were getting counseling, and our pastor's wife had me do something. She had me stand in front of a mirror, look myself in the eye, and say, "I am beautiful." And this was really, really hard for me to do. And I'm still not exactly sure where the root of this came from. It's something I'm still digging into because I wasn't belittled as a child. I wasn't constantly judged on my looks or anything. And there was always lots of I love yous and hugs and kisses. And I mean, we were a pretty close family. We still are. But I do wonder, is not saying negative things enough? And what I mean by that is it's easy to not say negative things. I mean, what's the saying? It's better to not say anything than to say something you'd regret, right? But I do wonder, is that enough? You see, when I was a teen, someone in my extended family made a very, very cruel comment to me. And that has stuck with me for over 15 years. One single comment from one single person. And that comment would have been very different if it had come from my mom or my dad because I know their heart. And they wouldn't have done it in front of a lot of people, which as a teen, I'm sure you know, is kind of humiliating. But I didn't have all of the positive to counteract that negative. Even though my family was super supportive and kind, I didn't have that opposite thing being spoken into my life that helped me know the truth rather than go, well, is that true? Something that we're doing with our kids is calling out the qualities that they have within them from a very early age. I'm talking like weeks old because they need to know who they are and the truth before they even have a chance of getting bullied at school or church or other spaces because bullies are everywhere. Cruel people are everywhere. We are 5 years into this, and I am seeing that my kids are starting to get it. They're starting to actually call that out in each other and themselves, saying things like, I am capable, I'm kind. Kids can be so cruel, and so can adults, and I want my children to have my voice in their head, calling out the positive, calling out the good, calling out those traits that they have. Today I wanted to bring you 5 things to help you speak over your children and to prioritize speaking life into your family. So the first thing is speak life over your children. Proverbs 18 says the tongue can bring life or death, and we have to speak life. My kids don't have to earn kind words. I may withhold my words, but that's because my temper is flaring and I'm going to say something I really, really shouldn't. Something that I tell my little girls every night in nap time is a little affirmation. I tell them, you are leaders, kind-hearted, brave, courageous, strong, good, and able. You are full of life, patient, joy-filled, merciful, and gentle. You are light, confident, a peacemaker, and wise. You are full of love, and you are pure in heart, but most importantly, you are loved by God. And if you would like a little printout of that, I'll have it available to my newsletter and in the private Time for Mom Facebook group. And if you'd like to join either of those, I'll have links in the show notes, but you can go to bit.ly/Time for Mom community, or, oh, I don't remember the newsletter one. That one will be in the show notes. But what can you do to speak life to your kids throughout the day? What do you do already? Really look for opportunities to praise them, because this also alleviates the whole get mom's attention debacle by doing all the bad things. Don't wait until your kids are acting out to give them attention. Speak life and positive into their life before that happens. The second thing that we do is we try to call out the qualities that we see, especially when they're acting contrary. Is my youngest extremely stubborn? Oh, yeah, so much so. But that also means that she has a strong will, and that isn't a bad thing. She just needs to know how to temper it, when to be strong and when to be gentle. Is my oldest daughter controlling? Yeah, she is, because she's an oldest child. But that also means she's a leader and also a protector. I can see these qualities coming out in her. She just has to learn when to tell things and when to ask things. Call out those positives whenever you can. Do not praise that bad behavior, but help them learn to control themselves and turn those issues into admirable qualities. When either of my kids are being mean, we try to ask them why. Why isn't she being kind? Because you are kind-hearted. You aren't mean. We call our girls beautiful all the time. We tell them that they're strong, they're beautiful, they're smart, they're fill in the blank. And their little grins are so worth it because we're calling out the positive things that we see in them and the things that we believe that they're going to grow into. Because let's face it, kids just don't naturally have some of these qualities. It's a learned thing. And it's up to us as parents to teach them. Number 3, take a minute to speak. I have a history of a sharp tongue. I've spoken about this before. I get really frustrated with my kids, and I try to send them to their room because that gives me the time to measure my words instead of just reacting in anger. Everything in me wants to point out their bad behavior and possibly rip a few strands of my own hair out, but taking that minute or 5 or 10 to pause and try to think of what would help them helps me temper my own temper. And that feels so much better than just lashing out in anger in the moment, because when I do that, I tend to have to go back and apologize and ask forgiveness, which isn't a bad thing to do that either, because it's important to model how to work through flaws as a family and to be open in admitting it that you screwed up. So don't take that as one way. James 1:19. Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Psalm 141:3 says, set a guard, O Lord, over my mouth. Keep watch over the door of my lips. Taking a minute and watching what comes out of your mouth is definitely a learned thing. And as we get older, I think we just have to learn how to do it a little differently in every stage of our life as we grow as people, because things that we say in one season might be okay, but in the next, it's probably not going to be okay, because we've grown and we've learned. So by all means, it is perfectly okay to send your child into their room because you're about ready to throttle them. We've got to control ourselves. We have to model how to control ourselves because that is the best way for our kids to learn. Number 4, try to be an example. James 3 talks about how the tongue is a fire. Our kids, like I said in number 3, they need to see us regulate and control ourselves. We don't have to explain ourselves. We don't have to say, you are going to your room because I am about to lose my ever-loving mind and I don't want to hurt you. You can, but you don't have to. I mean, I don't think a lot of little kids are really going to understand that. I could be wrong. they'll understand part of that. But we are the example to our kids, the good and the bad, and we get to choose what we are an example of. James 1:26, if anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless. Take the things that you've read on your blogs and on Pinterest and on Facebook and all those parenting examples and apply them to yourself. And if they don't work on you, I'm not so sure you might want to work them on your kids, because kids learn by example. They don't learn just by you browbeating something into their little heads. You've got to be the example. That's how they're going to learn. And I see this so much in my 5-year-old because, my goodness, she's a little mother. I love her so much, but she treats her little sister how I treat her little sister instead of as a sister. And it drives me crazy because that's not her job, but that's what she sees day in and day out. So that's how she's learning to treat her sister. We're working on it. She needs to be a sister, not a mother. But again, this goes back to speaking life and calling out the positive of, okay, that's great. And if mom's not here, this is okay to do. But when mom is standing here, let mommy do it. All right, so the fifth and final thing is to remember to practice these principles with your husband. What I mean by that is speak life into your husband. Call out the qualities you see in your husband. Take a minute before you speak to your husband when you're getting frustrated or angry. And try to be an example. I find that my husband will often react because I'm reacting. So I've got to take a step back and be the calm and take the fire off the fuse. Most of the time, our troubles in marriage, it's not our husband's fault. He may be part of it, but we also might be the fire that lights that fuse before the explosion. Practice these principles with your husband too, because they will help your marriage. Your husband didn't marry you because you were a harpy. I know my husband didn't marry me because I was a harpy. Sometimes I still wonder why my husband married me. But he married you because he loved you. And he saw qualities in you that you probably didn't see in yourself. I know mine did. And I also see the joy in his face when I call out the qualities in him that I see. I remember one birthday, I wrote him a letter because I didn't know what to get him, and I called out the qualities that I saw in him. And I try to do this on every birthday since. So for every birthday since then, I'll schedule texts and do 30 different things that I love about him, or 31 different things, and it just increases as he gets older. And those have been so precious to him, even though words of affirmation are not his primary love language. That's mine. But that practice of speaking life into my husband, even if he's getting an extra hefty dose once a year, it really helps remind him of how I see him and who he is, especially in life struggles. Men get berated for manly qualities because they're being displayed in unhealthy ways in some people. And it's up to us wives to remind them that, you know what, being manly is a good thing. Being who they are is a good thing. So remember to practice this with your husband, because your husband needs somebody in his corner, and that person is you. So I'm going to leave you with 2 more verses. Psalms 19:14, may these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. And Proverbs 16:24, gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. Do you already speak life into your family? What do you do? What could you start doing? Maybe you've got the kid thing down, but you need to start speaking life into your husband. What one of the 5 things can you start putting into practice and making your own? Can you start speaking life into your children, your husband? Can you call out the qualities you see or are contrary to an ugly behavior? Can you take control of your tongue and start pausing before you speak when you're frustrated and angry? Can you choose what kind of example you are? Can you speak life into your husband? I would love to see your takeaways on this episode and the one thing that you'd like to start doing. So come on over and join the free Time for Mom Facebook group. You can join at bit.ly/Time for Mom community. So come help a mom out and post what you're already doing and what you plan on doing today. And I can't wait to see you there. Let's encourage and be encouraged. Again, if you want that affirmation, just come on over to the Facebook group or join the newsletter, and I will have that as a download available. Until next week, mamas, may life just flow from you. Bye.
Hey, beautiful. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share this with a mom who's wading through those mounds of laundry and dishes and wishing for just a little me time? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It makes my day to know this podcast has helped you. Well, it's time for me to wash more dishes and cook more food. I'll meet you next Wednesday for another episode. Until then, may the God of grace fill you with his peace.